So, hello everyone. It's good to be back in England again and kind of grounding I'm in the south of England at the moment. So we're going to be talking about the goddess Cybele, and she's an asteroid as well. She's like a really fierce mother goddess energy. So I'm quite excited about her, really, and I feel like she's bringing out the sort of wildness that's her kind of archetype. So I'm just going to begin, though, because I've introduced you to Taraka.io, some of you anyway, and that's a really easy forum to find out your asteroids and where they are in the zodiac. But Cybele is not on there, so it's a little more complicated to find out about her. So in this first little section, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use astro.com to find any asteroids that you may not find on the thing. So when you go onto astro.com, you'll get to this birth data entry form, and you're going to put in your details. So I'm the 10th of September 1970, and I'm born at 5:25 a.m. and I was actually born in South Africa. I don't know if any of you pick up my accent from there. It's quite a long time since I lived there. Yeah, so this is, I'm sure most of you will have used these kind of sites before. Oh, hang on. Oh, bugger. Not enough memory to open this page. And we're not even in Mercury retrograde. Okay. Don't know how to solve that really. Oh, there we go. So, okay, so come back again. Okay, so when you're in there, you want to go on this section. So you're going to create your own profile. And then there's the section. Just hang on, because it seems to have slowed down again. So I don't want to click on it. Why are you doing that? So annoying when technology doesn't work. Maybe I'll start sharing again, see if I can get it back. Okay, well, I'm going to abandon that idea. And what I'll do is I'll put a short video on the Soul Tribe on how to use it. But essentially, you create your own profile and you go into the extended chart, and the little box comes up and you put the number of the asteroid in. So Cybele is goddess asteroid 65. So you put 65 in, and then it'll tell you where she is in your chart. Okay, so I met this goddess asteroid quite unexpectedly in Madrid. So we arrived on the plane and we're getting like a bus through the city, and it's all lit up, really beautiful Madrid. And we come to this fountain that's all, the lights are on, and it's just amazing. So this image I'm showing you here is the fountain. Just going to this so it's bigger. And as we draw up, I see Cybele, but with an eye on the bus. And I'm like, oh my God, is that the goddess Cybele? Which it is. So she's an Anatolian mother goddess. And you can see here, she's got these two lions that draw her chariot. So as well as being this kind of fierce mother goddess, she's connected with lions, which we'll talk about more in a bit. The image of the chariot, if we think of the tarot, chariot is like about manifestation. It's a very powerful, like physical energy, the chariot. And then these two lions, well, we could connect them with Leo and the heart. But there is this myth that these two lions were lovers, human lovers, and because they breached the temple rules, Cybele turned them into lions, and they can't ever look at each other again. So there's something immediately in the myth about like respecting the sanctity of the temple, because they basically made love in the sanctity of the temple and they weren't supposed to. So we can read different things into that, you know, we can, but what I'm kind of drawing more broadly is there's something around sexual boundaries and Cybele. And it's quite interesting because she's this really wild energy, but yet it's also asking us to be boundaried and maybe be in integrity in that wildness, because the wildness, I guess, could manifest in all kinds of ways. Okay, and you want to move next? Yes. Okay, so the mother goddess with teeth and claws. So she's like Ceres, who we're going to actually be doing next week as part of our exploration of the pearl. We're going to do these 4 first goddesses. So Ceres is the mother goddess. But it feels like, and she's described as an uncivilized and also a foreign mother. So by foreign, we could think about, you know, this is a mother who wants to do things that maybe the more typical archetypal mother doesn't want to do. And yeah, and so that's something I'd like to, in our conversation piece, whether you have any experience of that. But thing that actually came up for me this morning is I used to have an adopted son called Connor, and I chose to live in this house that backed onto a huge hillside so that he could play in a wild place with his friends, which is quite hard to do now in Britain. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but, you know, when I was a child, we just went out for the day. We never saw any adults. We went out into the wilds, and in South Africa this was, but in Britain it's very constricted, you know, even what you could allow your children to do. And so this was my kind of compromise, that he could go out on this hillside. And I think it's because I really like valued that he should have some time when he wasn't supervised by adults to kind of experience his wildness, I guess. Okay, so we've got this uncivilized mother who maybe has some really different ideas to other mothers. The other thing with Cybele is her priests and priestesses are connected with transgender. And you get this with Inanna as well, the Sumerian goddess. And you also get it in the Native American tradition, where priests and priestesses are often quite androgynous, like they'll dress in the different gender, and it's known as twin spirits. So, you know, it's quite interesting because our society kind of really looks down on people who are transgender or bisexual or gender fluid, whatever we might want to call it. But actually in ancient times, priests and priestesses were often did have, you know, they could embody the masculine and the feminine effortlessly. And this was part of their priestess way of being, really. So so that's something to consider with her. So she's breaking the rules around gender, and she's breaking the rules around motherhood. So for me, I've not seen her connected to Venus and Inanna, but Inanna is often depicted with two lions by her feet. So I feel there is a connection. But she's also connected to Ceres, Demeter, Sekhmet, who I think came up last week, Rhea, and any kind of Earth Mother archetypes. So what is this whole lion story? Well, one thing that's really interesting is that the next goddess phase is going to be the Leo meta goddess phase. And quite a few astrologers I've seen have linked this energy to Sekhmet, actually. But I feel that like the appearance of Cybele in our field is kind of orientating us towards the next Venus star point, which is going to be in August, and asking us to prepare this lion energy, this more wild energy within ourselves. Yeah, so what I wanted to do now is just invite you in. I'm going to pause the recording, and here's some of the sort of questions I thought of, but you can respond with anything you like, really. Like, what associations do you have with a fierce, untamed mother? How might she parent her young? So in the Dream Arc Lion, Richard Rudd tells a really lovely story where he watched in Africa the lioness teaching her cubs how to hunt, and they spent 2 hours creeping towards these springbuck. And then one of the lion cubs went too fast. It was impatient and it went too quickly, and that was it. You know, the hunt was over. So, you know, what could we actually learn about parenting from an animal like the lioness? And then there's this thing about wildness. And for me, I've really been exploring this, well, for quite a lot of my life, but I think especially the past sort of 6 months is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially physically, like cold, or but emotionally, like stepping outside of what we're normally comfortable with. Because unless we do that, how can we experience wildness? You know, if we only stay in our safe place in ourselves, and physically, emotionally, we don't really get to experience being at that edge of wildness and survival instinct. And I heard somebody say this, I don't know where I heard this, that if you actually expose yourself to small levels of discomfort quite often, it's actually really good for your nervous system and your immunity, because your immunity gets used to kind of responding to these sort of lower level situations. Whereas if you say are always comfortable in a very warm house or whatever, then, you know, maybe your immunity doesn't get to do as much. You know, it's like as simple as that. So So this question, how comfortable are you with short periods of discomfort? And, you know, are you feeling this pull towards wildness, maybe towards the lion as well? Okay, so I'm going to come off here and I'm going to pause the recording.